The 1-900 Wrestling Podcast is brought to you as always by patreon.com/1900wrestling. Again, patreon.com/1900wrestling. It is there that you can get access to what... Listen, let me ask you. If the place where you like to enjoy live wrestling commentary on the internet regularly has a moment where everybody says, oh my God, this has been so fun. I love being here more than anything. Thank you all, no matter whether or not we agree or disagree. Thank you for being here. Because that's something that happens after every live event on our patron-only Discord. You just got to kick in the bare minimum to become a patron, and you get access to. It was a blast last night, and that's the big reason to do it. So head on over to patreon.com/1900wrestling and make sure you kick in all the proceeds to the Wrestle Fund for me and Dills. But enough of talking about how we do the show. Oh, what do you say we just do the damn thing?
I want you to call me for all of wrestling's latest news and views. I've been around in wrestling for 35 years, and nobody knows wrestling like me. Remember the number 1-900 Wrestling.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 1-900 Wrestling program. Right after Elimination Chamber, I'm joined by the one, the only, Willie Dills Gregory. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I didn't get to watch it live. I was working the BJ Thomas show last night.
Who's BJ Thomas?
Yeah, BJ Thomas. Raindrops are falling on my head.
Oh,
the original I Can't Stop This Feeling guy. He actually wrote the song and recorded it for the first. He was the first guy to record it before they put in the Ooga Chaga. He did the original version with like a sitar in it and stuff. He wrote a bunch of songs actually that other people sang too. He was like one of those, crooner / songwriter guy who just wrote a lot of songs and sometimes sang them. Right?
Good show.
But it was a fantastic show. It was, he's just getting to the end of his career, I would say, right? But still going strong. But just at this point, he's just kind of, he's like, I have to keep doing shows. So he's just kind of up there having fun, right? Like he was very dry with the crowd. There was a couple moments where people were like shouting things at him, and he's just kind of, I've been through this before. I've done this, like whatever. Like shouting a song for him to play or something like that, Yeah. I love watching a professional at work.
Yes.
So, like after they've been doing something for that amount of time, it is really enjoyable.
Well, speaking of legends who have diminishing returns, let's talk about Elimination Chamber last night.
When was the first Elimination Chamber, by the way?
Ooh.
I actually don't know this.
I heard I heard the what's it called, the Something to Wrestle podcast that included it. It has to be. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say 10 years ago.
So I'm looking it up.
2008, maybe.
Oh wait, this is the wrong one. I need like Elimination Chamber, not 2018. I need like the Elimination Chamber.
The structure, because remember it faded out because the old chamber used to be contingent on being able to be hung. 02 was the first chamber.
02, yeah.
So
it was on Raw as well. Oh no, it looked like it. Okay, it was in a pay-per-view event. It was they were branded at the time. Okay,
yeah. 2002. Right. Wow. So that was right at the beginning of my blackout of
Shawn Michaels won, defeating Triple H, Chris Jericho, Kane, Booker T, and RVD. Wow.
But the old chamber, I guess, used to be hung by, every arena used to have just that big box in the center of it, and on all four sides would be a monitor or whatever. Before everybody got just the four, like the box that was all
be like
LEDs.
The cage, kind of like what we saw at WrestleMania, right? But
so yeah, they used to be hung from there, and so now all these arenas are getting rid of it, so they had to redo the cage. But I think the new cage looks so much better. I mean, I think it presents incredibly well on television, no matter what.
It's really cool. Yeah, it looks slick. It looks. I'm not concerned for the well-being of the wrestlers the way I was watching some of the older ones.
Yeah,
where it's kind of painful to watch. I know that was one of the big selling points of it. Was like everything hurts inside the chamber. You know that was the thing. But
turned
now
out
it's
it was
kind
true.
of like a matted base around the ring. It's not just hard metal, which I think it used to be, or a metal grate or whatever they used to use. It was terrible.
Well, where do we want to start? Where do we? Because I have some thoughts. I enjoyed the pay-per-view.
Let's start with the women's one. Let's go kind of what they did. Let's start with the women's one. Then we'll talk about other notable things that happened, and then we'll talk about, because I think that is the most talked about thing right now. I'd like to give it the most time, is where we are now after Elimination Chamber, right?
All right. The women's match, I believe, spoiler alert, I thought flowed better than the men's match. I thought that they told a great story. I thought that Absolution, which were the least popular members of that match, came off really well. They told a great story. They really kind of explained why they would be eliminated, despite the fact that they were the team. And I would have been. It
was the official team, but there's all this talk of
the factions.
Sasha and Bayley,
Sasha and Bayley were a team, and that Alexa and
Alexa has in the past somewhat teamed up with,
and had recently saved Mickey from various beats down and stuff. So,
but they weren't technically like a team at this point in time. So there was talk like that there were 3 teams essentially in there, kind of, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, Alexa's still a heel, and Mickie James is very much a face right now. So it was they were the only truly formed, like they came out together.
Yes.
They are definitely a team. But that part of their story too, and I've talked about this, I really like Sonya because she looks like she can fight.
Yeah.
Like really looks like she can fight, and then also but then she also looks like she's new to the wrestling thing, right? So she pulls off this kind of, I'm a badass, but I'm also still a little wet behind the ears, right? Thing really well.
I'll tell you what, I think they're both great, and they have progressed really well. I mean, if they are the baseline of the new talent that comes in, then the women's division is in really, really, really good shape.
Sure.
You could make the argument that there are probably even more star power in the women's division on SmackDown, but who's doing the exact same gimmick, except they were able to keep their leader because she didn't get injured.
Because she didn't get hurt, yeah.
But that Sonya and Mandy, and Mandy, I mean, Jesus, Mandy's built like every Divas champion ever, right? Just replace the name.
Well, she was the one pulling off all the power moves, right? So what it looks like when you look at those two is you've got your striker, and then you've got your wrestler, right?
Yeah.
And that dynamic really worked out well. That Sonya Deville was definitely scarier as a striker, and Mandy Rose was actually picking women up and throwing them on the ground, right?
Yeah.
And so but the thing that they really did well, because I did see some people saying, oh, well, they were just kind of fodder in this match, and you could make that argument, absolutely, because what they did though is they contributed to the storyline of showing Bayley as kind of a changed woman, right? Like that she is no longer a hugger. She is a badass, formidable fighter like that we expected her to be.
Yeah.
She's not going to be scared to use a kendo stick, because there was a moment in her run on the main roster that people were not very excited about where her character was, right?
Yeah.
And this brought a lot of that. She has an edge. She's not just happy Bayley, just happy to be here. She's a competitor, right? She's still trusting a little bit too much, obviously, and that's part of the story as well. But she held her own against an entire other team for 10 minutes, right? So, and then obviously when Mickie James comes in, the dynamic totally changes. But it just built up Bayley in this.
Oh
match.
Yeah. Oh no. I think
without making them look bad either, right?
No, I thought they were great. And look, those matches are long, and you need some story to take up the first portion of it. The story of the first portion of that match was Absolution getting the advantage on Bayley, and then Sasha coming back to save Bayley. That's the story that we're telling.
Oh yeah, it was Sasha who came in before Mickie James, right? Yeah,
and that evened it up, and then that built up for where we were going. Now, give me your thoughts on the match in general, and then let me go ahead. There's going to be 2 monologues in this episode, and
Sure.
and Dills is going to give the first one. So what were your thoughts, and then get into your monologue.
Okay, so my thoughts just on the match itself were that it flowed great, it told a great story, and to me had a fantastic ending. And I know a lot of people on Reddit were not very happy that lol Alexa wins is apparently a thing now. Also, there's a weird thing where people seem to think that Alexa Bliss just isn't a good wrestler, and I completely disagree with that. I think she might not be technically as good as someone like a Charlotte or a Sasha, but she does what she does really well, which is character work and selling and looking.
Look, for her to belong in the WWE at that size and at that stature, if she were not incredibly talented, she would not have a job. You can't be that size.
She wouldn't be holding the damn belt forever and ever. People somehow think that somehow somebody just has a thing for her or something, but it's like, no, she is the best character right now. Like that, as far as like that women, there's some really good stuff going on with some of the other women, but when I just watch character work and stuff, she cuts the best promos. She has the best facial expressions. People legitimately got worked by her promo after this match, which I thought was amazing.
Oh, that was great.
They thought she legitimately was turning face,
which is funny because she's done that. I think she's done that like 3 or 4 times now. She's done the like, I'm crying. This is a moment. And then the like turn into active bitch face. And
then back to mean girl mode. Yeah. And you know, it was funny because as I was watching it, I was like, I could kind of tell it was coming, but I also was like, this would be crazy if maybe they think if they're turning Sasha heel, that now they got to turn Alexa face to try to keep things even. And then I was like, and like, you know, then I just started laughing because I love that moment. And the way she did it too was perfect. It was like the timing was perfect. And it just suddenly goes from crying face to just complete mean face.
By the way, there were 2 moments in this pay-per-view that I felt it was very self-aware WWE writing, understanding what some of the people online bitch about and giving them specifically hooks to swing on. But
they're playing with it for sure. They're self-aware at this point.
And that was part of it, because part of what people say is like, oh my God, how many firsts? How many for the first time ever the women get to do blank, 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 and blank? And I think the easy answer to that is, well, as soon as they stop having firsts, then they'll stop talking
as many
about
times as they're doing something for the first time. What kind of question is that? So I do want to address though. I want to tell some marks to sit down. Sit down, Marks.
Hold on, wait a minute. Let's go ahead and get in. This is a Willie Dills original.
Sit down, Marks.
There you go. Beautiful. All right. So I saw some people saying that they liked everything about this match except that Sasha's heel turn doesn't make sense, because why would you do it when Alexa's still in the match, right? Wouldn't you just take out Alexa, then turn on Bayley? Wouldn't that just make more sense, kayfabe-wise? To which I say, are you stupid? Like, are you just an idiot? No, it doesn't make more sense to wait until the moment when Bayley is now forced to also go against you. At that point, there's no turning on her anymore. It's not like Bayley's going to just be like, we did it, let's hug, and now we're both winners. No, Bayley is now also in a situation where she has to fight Sasha. The only time to turn on her is while Alexa's still in the match. It is the only time.
Like storytelling wise, it doesn't. How do you illustrate? How do you illustrate that this is her turning on her versus her just competing with her?
At that point, they are literally the last 2 women in the match. There is no turning on her anymore because now there is only one other person to fight. So you have to turn on her in a moment where you think, if I push her off of this, she'll be out long enough. She's helped me get Alexa a little bit hurt. Now I can take out Alexa and Bayley will still be hurt. That's the whole premise. And it makes sense. And people are just too dense to even think through a situation, right? Like they're like, wait, what? No, you wouldn't. And it's like, you didn't even think about how this would actually play out. So anyway, I can't stand when people sit there and think that they have it all figured out. This is why wrestling is stupid, because what they did doesn't make sense. I will agree with them when they say saving someone in the Royal Rumble doesn't make sense. I get that.
Sure.
That doesn't make sense. That gets used all the time. But you also got to remember that people are doing like 45 minutes of fake fighting, and they just do stuff.
And
right?
by the way, people make mistakes in real sports too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
People have like run the wrong way on a football field and scored a touchdown.
They do things that are actually not correct to do at the moment. And they're trying their hardest to win. But this does actually make sense, and so just stop. Like, just stop trying to pick out every little thing and nitpick the match and blah blah blah. It's like, just watch the match and enjoy the match. Or don't enjoy the match, but like trying to find like the reason why this character's thing didn't make sense is just, it's dumb.
I also think, most importantly, they should
sit down, Mark.
Yeah, at least have something intelligent to say when you stand up. All right. Okay.
What else happened in this pay-per-view?
I feel better now.
What else happened?
What do you mean? What else happened?
Well, we have something. What else stood out to you? Apparently, the crowd was a little unplugged or unhinged during the Bray Wyatt Matt Hardy match, which I thought was pretty good. I actually kind of liked.
I thought there was a lot. So I heard that there was that this was a terrible crowd, just in general. I don't know if there was apparently a fight broke out during the Ronda Rousey segment.
Somebody got tased. Our friend Mitsula and
he was there, right?
Our friends Mitsula and Katie and James were there in Vegas, and they saw a dude get tased. There was the beach ball.
I mean, it's Vegas. People get a little inebriated in Vegas. They tend to, but I don't know. Wrestling fans tend to get a little inebriated, so I don't know if that's really an excuse.
Listen, here's what I'm gonna say. One of these days, Willie, we gotta peel off a few bucks from that Wrestle Fund to go to a T-Mobile, like a WWE event in Vegas.
Oh yeah, because we did the wrestling in Vegas thing, and that was cool. But that was ROH.
Let me just say this:
a little different.
T-Mobile, at T-Mobile Arena. It's dangerous. They have built up.
Isn't it on the Strip?
So it's on the Strip. It's a fun little cove. A little outdoor drinking paradise with every kind of bar that you would want. And it's literally, you can take your beer because there's no open container laws.
Vegas.
You can just take your beer from there. I think you have to throw it out before you get into the arena. But like, it is very pre-game friendly, post-game friendly.
Yeah, Vegas would be the one place I actually would expect that you could just walk with your beer in. I actually wouldn't be surprised at all
if it weren't for the fact that they have to sell their own beer inside.
Sure.
Almost assuredly you'd be able to do it.
Fair enough. There is actually, so if you go to a Giants game, and I'm sure you've maybe done this before, if you go to the Acme Chop House before the game, there's an entrance from the Chop House into the game, and it is a very cool feeling to have like a shot and a beer in your hand and then just show somebody your ticket and walk in with your shot and your beer. Yeah, it's fantastic. The crowd was a little bit suspect. They chanted "You deserve it" to Alexa, which I thought was hilarious too. After she won, but like other notable things besides the two Elimination Chamber matches, it was a little bit funky. Like I kind of felt like the tag match was fine. The Matt Hardy match was fine. It was just all fine.
Right? Can I ask you this? Because I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh." And Matt Hardy's been teasing it on Twitter, posting pictures of the dilapidated boat and the delete shovel and stuff like that. That maybe where this is going is a final deletion style Hardy compound blow off, right?
It needs to get there somehow. Like this is the problem I'm having with the character.
I think so too. Where I don't think it's appropriate is WrestleMania, because unless you are doing it like. How do you, number one, you can't do that in arena, because the fun part about the final deletion was that of how it was edited together, right? It was just a brilliant piece of short filmmaking. And like when we went to WrestleMania last year, as weird as that Bray Wyatt Randy Orton match was, I would have preferred that to watching something on a screen for 20 minutes, right?
That doesn't work at WrestleMania. And also, to me personally, I think this needs to be the biggest part of whatever show it is actually presented at. I don't want it to just be a mid-card thing, right?
Kill an hour of Raw with it. You have 3 hours of television. You can kill a whole hour from the Hardy compound. Just kill an hour.
Yeah. But we do. I think right now they're just kind of biding their time until Jeff Hardy is ready to go, and then they could start. This is what I'm kind of hoping for. They're waiting for Jeff Hardy to be good to go.
They want to literally do the final deletion again.
They want to do that story, maybe with a lot of similar hits, but just rewritten a little bit, right? So just retooled. That's what I am hoping.
Yeah,
it feels like they're just kind of biding their time. They're like, okay, yes, he is broken or woken. But he's not right now. He's just kind of having a series of matches with Bray because they could both say weird shit to each other and it makes sense.
Here's where I think that this feud is disconnecting with people. They're both light versions of the characters we love.
Yeah.
If this were really broken Matt Hardy versus Bray Wyatt is a cult leader. He
needs
trying
the Wyatt
to
family.
Recruit Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
He'd be trying to recruit Rebby or Senior Benjamin.
Sure.
If this were the broken universe, all those characters would actually exist, and you could have these fun little vignettes at the Hardy compound, which is, in actuality, what people fell in love with when it came to broken Matt Hardy. The matches, remember, they did a blow-off match for Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy after that initial Brother Nero, I knew you'd come thing. Nobody gave a fuck. And then they did the final deletion, and it was great because it was like what we wanted, the pre-recorded thing.
Well, also, people are complaining a little bit about the woken Matt Hardy thing right now because, yes, he is a watered-down version, but also it didn't really hit for a long time. It took a while to build into what people kind of fell in love with, right? Like, at first, it was very bizarre to people, and they didn't understand what the hell was happening.
Yes.
And then it kind of took on the life of its own, right? Which it needs the room to breathe, I think, here. So I'm holding back on just shitting on this just saying, like, right now, it's not perfect. But the problem is that we know too much about it already.
Here's my no. I do think that the problem is that they're holding them back. But the issue is that I like them both. I would like to see them doing whatever the fuck they wanted. They could be Husky Harris versus V1 Matt Hardy, and I would love it, right? Because I love both of them.
I do wish, though, that we could somehow do this feud, the feud that's happening right now, with actual Wyatt family. Like, Bludgeon Brothers are now back in the Wyatt family, and Brother Nero and Rebby, and all that stuff. Senior Benjamin. I want to see like the full cast of characters play with each other, right?
Yeah,
and.
I
don't mind if they hold back as long as like there's a good reason for it, right? And the reason is that we're missing one of the key pieces.
Here's what I love about broken Matt Hardy, and this is where I think that WWE is missing the boat if they don't take advantage of this. He is a pocket universe for your world, right? He can exist in the mid card, doesn't need to be in the main event, can wrestle singles or as a tag team, and can just do whatever he wants. Just literally a vignette every week or every 2 weeks of him out at the grocery store, at a farm.
Like living in life as woken Matt Hardy.
Just fucking, like, that's what they did. And it was brilliant. Like, he's just great to see him go to the post office and just be like, I don't know why I did. You will be deleted
you're absolutely right.
from the
You're
stamp.
absolutely right. This is the best way to utilize this character, not to just have him be the character and have a match.
Well, and
Raw
it's oh my
once a
fucking
week.
God, they're doing the one thing that I hate the most about WWE, which is that making these guys wrestle 50 times and then be like, but no, now it's for all the marbles. Now the 51st time that they're going to wrestle on television, now it matters.
Yeah, keep them away from each other a little more would be ideal for sure.
All right.
But it's part of the world that WWE kind of exists in, and that may or may not change. I don't know if you saw there was a recent I think it was What Culture. I can't at this point. What Culture and Cultaholic. I'm just like like the same thing. But they did a video about what would change once Vince McMahon either dies or passes on the reins or whatever, and it was pretty interesting. And I think. I'm not hoping for that to happen, but I'm very curious to see what happens when it actually does go down. It's gonna be weird.
I think we are seeing a lot of subtle things, including one thing that I will get to that I'm very excited to see happen. But before we get to that, let's talk about the other thing that probably is the most controversial segment on the show rather. That was Ronda Rousey signing her WWE contract. Kurt Angle comes down. Then I think we all had 2015 flashbacks of the opening of every Raw where Triple H and Stephanie were going to cut a 20-minute authority promo. They make their way to the ring. Then Ronda Rousey in a better fitting coat. I guess she either got the Roddy Piper coat fitted or she got her own that looks a little bit better. And things broke down. What were your thoughts on the seg?
I mean, okay. This makes me happy if this is where we're headed because I would like to see this particular match, right? Which is the Triple H Stephanie versus Ronda Rousey, and then I guess Kurt Angle now, right? Mm-hmm. I believe that will be a more enjoyable match, and then allow the championship belts to kind of be contested by women that it makes sense to be contesting for them, right? So this is a good way for her to get in there. She's also going to be a little bit protected, with 4 people in the match instead of like just her having to go one-on-one for a belt, right? Yeah. So I enjoyed it. I think the weirdest part to me was I didn't understand what Kurt Angle's motivation was for just calling the authority out publicly like that.
Did you forget
possible expense of his job? But
did you forget the third of the 3 I's? Integrity.
That's true. Yeah, look, integrity.
He's a man of integrity. All right.
Yes, that's right. So okay, fine. There's the motivation, sure. But it was also kind of weird that they played up that somehow Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey were super close or something. But look, I'm watching a television show, so I'm not like one who fights against it. I'm just like, when did this happen? I'm just curious that I missed the boat on that when they became super close friends. But obviously they could have had a relationship out, just they are
often mentioned together, though. I mean, they're both Olympic athletes that have now come to the WWE.
It would make sense that they would run in the same circles.
I mean, look, I would guess if I would wonder actually if Kurt Angle, if you were to have asked Kurt Angle that, like, if UFC had been in the position that it is now when he like medaled in the Olympics. Oh yeah, like when he moved on from the Olympic wrestling,
whether or not he would have a UFC guy.
Yeah, whether or not he would have considered doing it. I mean, he's one of
probably. I mean, he was a legit badass, and really WWE is like the only game in town, right? So. Yeah,
well, I mean, it certainly UFC, I believe, existed, but it was far more in its roots of like a sumo wrestler fights a karate guy kind of thing.
It was like Muay Thai boxers and judo guys and things like the Hoist Gracies of the world and stuff like that. It wasn't. I mean, we'd already seen at that point that a lot of Olympic wrestlers had moved on to
UFC
pro wrestling.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, it was the next logical step.
So I mean, I don't know. I think that. It is instructive to look at Ronda Rousey. In a lot of ways, it's not a very forgiving comparison for her to be like, oh, she's like Kurt Angle.
I know. Oh my God, she's coming in with so much hype, and then the promo that they cut for her coming in is like one of the greatest athletes to walk through the door since that guy, and you're like, oh, since Kurt Angle, really?
It's like, oh, you mean the guy who like picked up like wrestled like Ric Flair after 2 weeks of training, like that?
Yeah.
Guy?
By the way, people who've come in since him: John Cena, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins.
They do not move that fast. But then again, they're not the athletes that he was. And listen, Ronda's a tremendous athlete, and look, that belly to belly through the table,
it looked good. It looked real good. She picked up a big, heavy man.
Now, we get a very awkward talking segment with Ronda. You kind of wonder exactly how fast they're going to put Paul Heyman with her.
Here's the thing I don't want them to do. Not everybody has to talk like a wrestler, right? And I think that's one of the issues that happens sometimes in the WWE is that sometimes you suddenly have to start cutting wrestler style promos.
Yeah.
When maybe you could just talk like a UFC fighter would have talked in a press conference and it would be okay, right? Not everything has to be like, I'm going to do this. Like, not everything has to be aggressive and over the top. You could literally just talk like you're an athlete at a press conference. I think it would be believable at this point. She could be that type. Like when I watch like a Kenny Omega promo, he doesn't talk like a pro wrestler very often. You know,
I disagree. I think
really
that guy,
got a really weird tone for a pro wrestler style.
But everything
promo.
he says is very deliberate. I mean, like he reminds me more. Kenny reminds me more of like that Jake the Snake kind of style, where Jake the Snake.
Yeah. It's not like rough and aggressive, but it is like all this confident talk and like
but it's very Like Kenny.
But I'm not really talking about the content. I'm just talking about the delivery style, right?
Sure,
because the delivery style, I feel like she was trying to be a wrestler all of a sudden, and she should just be whatever she is. And I think that's where it looked a little off.
See, right? I don't know. It felt to me that she was being who she was, and she was talking as if she were just really excited to be signed by a company she's admired for a really long time. And then as soon as she said, "Kurt, do you have something to say?" that's when it turned into, no, now I'm like, it felt like they were like, look, be yourself, talk to the crowd, and then we're going to like sell that this is authentic. And then we're going to do the wrestling hoo-ha of like, oh, wait, the devious couple is devious. Oh, no. Like, and then we'll immediately establish you as a hero.
So if this all didn't devolve, by the way, what do you think was Triple H and Stephanie's dastardly plan?
Oh, here's the other. Remember what I mentioned before with the like Alexa Bliss being like yet another honorarium for the Ascendant Women's Division turned on its head?
Yeah.
The plan by Triple H was to bury her, because that's what the man with 3 H's does, according to popular opinion, is he signs them so he can bury them. This has been part of popular smark orthodoxy since the dawning of the message board, is that the WWE signed your favorite guy from somewhere else, and then they just put him in the mid-card because they don't like him. They basically just want to take the competition out, and that, to me, was the story, and I loved it. I ate it up.
Well, okay, but what's the plan for burying her? Is the plan to like put her up against somebody she's not ready for, or is the plan to never let her fight anybody that matters? Like, because now the plan is that, you know, oh, now we're gonna fight. Now we're gonna fight.
And now, right? Yes. So now they're gonna fight. Who knows? Either way, I
yeah, like just feed her to Asuka or something like that in her first ever match, like that, you know. And then all of a sudden be like, oh, well, you can't handle Asuka, so I guess now you're just gonna fight.
Gonna be Brock. It's gonna be Brock. They were gonna book her on Brock in the first hour of Raw.
Intergender match, and just get her ass beat. All right.
But I think,
and then she just fights Kurt Hawkins for the rest of eternity, and like, she's
just on Superstars. She's on Superstars until her contract runs out.
Yeah. Main event Superstars. That's all you get now.
Yeah, and then it's what's Shmonda Schlousy doing in the Impact Zone? Are we still doing that now that they moved to Canada?
I love it. All right, we gotta talk about the main event before, because we still got freaking philosophical question to get to.
We do. What'd you think of the main event?
So.
Save the end for the end, but what'd you think of the main event as a whole?
So I love like basically all of the talent that was in it, and I think they all had fun moments, and the wrestling was all awesome. But you know, overall, it was kind of like, I guess, you know, to me, like, I'm more used to a lot of big high spots in an Elimination Chamber match, but it felt like the women utilized the chamber more effectively than the men did. Yeah. And I think that was kind of what was interesting about it, is that there wasn't a lot of that. There was one, I think Seth Rollins was the only one who really did anything of note utilizing the chamber itself, right? A lot of the action was just finishers in the ring, and the storyline between these 7 wrestlers and how that kind of like who got eliminated in what order and these kind of, and who eliminated them. That was kind of the story of the match, not it being the Elimination Chamber, right? Yeah. So to me, that was a little bit awkward, but there was nothing you could, there was no like botches. There was nothing that you could say like felt awkward or whatever. It just was, you know, not a great Elimination Chamber match, but still a really good match. And I enjoyed the whole thing. It was awkward for me because it was late. So I was like, am I getting tired and sleepy because this match isn't doing it for me? Or am I just sleepy because it's 2 in the morning, right? Which that's my own fault, but.
I mean, it sure made Braun Strowman a bigger star, right? Which makes the ending puzzling. I will say that. Like, so, it was the tale of Braun Strowman and how he's the baddest motherfucker on the planet.
No, he's not the baddest. He's the second baddest.
Well, I mean, again,
There's one more batter.
We will get to the end, but when you eliminate everybody but the last guy, and then you get up from being beaten by the last guy and run him through every part of the chamber, like, who's a badder motherfucker than Braun Strowman? And also, now, again, it's hard to divorce a lot of these pay-per-views from Royal Rumble on without understanding that we are judging the creative decisions for WrestleMania, the end of our story for the year, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what you do with Braun. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, like, who does he fight? Christ? Are you going to bring back Christ? Are you going to reanimate a clone of Andre the Giant?
Has to, yeah, I don't know. I think they need to do, instead of the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, it's just like 39 guys versus Braun Strowman.
Braun, yeah, just have him race a train or something. Like, give him the fucking Inky Poo challenge with John Henry.
There's no other like comparable giant right now for him either, right? Like Big Show's too old to be legitimately. Mark Henry's too old to be a legitimate contender for him. So you gotta, and then the problem too is that you can't really do things like handicap matches, because that kind of thing has just been done to death with, like Ryback and Goldberg and things like that. So the problem is that Brock is like the only one who makes sense, and Brock is spoken for, right? And they already did Brock, and
it wasn't great.
And it wasn't great, but maybe it wasn't great because they didn't allow it to be as great as it would be if it was headlining WrestleMania.
I think Braun a year from now, barring injury.
Yeah.
I understand keeping him out of the main event right now.
So, no, and I totally do too. But the issue that I think I will have, that will be I will be the yin to your yang here in a second.
Yeah.
Is just because of what you just said. He is the baddest motherfucker on the planet right now. So you know who I want to see him fight?
The champion.
The other guy I think is the baddest motherfucker. So even though like the Brock Braun thing wasn't that great, I think a lot of people at the end of this match were just really wanting to see Braun Brock again, right?
And look, the WWE is the one who gave him blue balls. It's not like anything else has happened other than Braun has been the beneficiary of a tremendous showcase by their creative. Like,
now you cannot say that he's not getting pushed. Like I every time I read like the Reddit comments where suddenly it's like, oh, they're feeding him to Roman, I'm like, dude, this guy is getting the push of a lifetime. Like that, he is.
Here's a little sample.
He's making it work, obviously, but he's not getting shit for material.
Here's a little sample of what Braun Strowman did last night. Eliminate Elias. Eliminate The Miz. Eliminate Seth Rollins. Eliminate Finn Balor. And eliminate
John Cena.
John Cena, motherfucker.
And not only that, take all of their finishers and kick out of all of them.
Kick out of a double shield slam with all four competitors standing on top of him. Like, there is no... when you talk about, the booking made him into a monster. Like they could have just had the Drifter hit him with a guitar and have him be out for 3 seconds.
Well, okay, so, and I agree with you that the booking has made him a monster, and I believe him to be the monster that he's been made out to be. Even though I understand wrestling, even though I understand exactly like why and how these things are happening, right?
Yeah.
Because he's just doing it so well. And I think that's one of the things that upsets me, is that he's doing it so well, and I don't know where he goes now as the biggest show is coming up. And I want to feel like whatever he's about to do next is going to be the bad, because I actually care way more about whatever he does at WrestleMania than I do about Roman Reigns. And that's a problem with the booking, right? Is that it's not that I don't like Roman Reigns, which is, I think, a problem a lot of people have. It's that Roman Reigns has been made into something where I don't care about him. I care about, I care about what everybody thinks of it. I don't know. It's weird. Like, you know, like John Cena, like that's kind of been the story for 5 years ago was it wasn't about John Cena. It was about some people boo him, some people love him. That's his character, not just like John Cena, the badass, right? Where I'm looking at Braun Strowman, he's just a badass.
All right, look, this is my thing. Here's my monologue. Just lay back and think of England. That's what I'm asking. I'm asking for the internet wrestling community to please just let it happen. We've known for 3 years now, 4 years, that the point of all of this is for Roman to beat Brock. And it has been the sword of Damocles hanging over every single fucking decision in the top main event of this company for as long as I've been watching wrestling again. Effectively, if you're going to assume that this storyline begins with Brock beating The Undertaker and breaking the streak back into WrestleMania 30, then literally for as long as I have been back into wrestling, this has been the story that has been building. And initially, I think it was only supposed to be for about a year. And then at 31 in San Francisco or Santa Clara, they were going to have Roman beat Brock, and he would be the new anointed one. That was obviously going to go over like such a fucking lead balloon that they pulled the 11th hour Seth Rollins move. We then get the thing that happens in Dallas, which is, you know, again, a WrestleMania that ends with the entire arena booing Roman Reigns. All I want is this. Just let it happen. I want to know where this company goes when the big thing they're trying to get to is no longer the thing that they're trying to get to. And when that's behind us, I think we're going to be in a better place. So it's like, did Roman win? Yes. Did everybody know he was going to win? Yes. Is it frustrating that it's not Braun versus Brock? To be totally honest with you, friends, I think Roman Brock is going to be a better match.
Roman Brock is a better match right now.
It's going to be a better match on.
But after watching Brock punch Braun Strowman in the head as hard as he possibly could, I just kind of want to see them fight now. That
was him getting frustrated. Yes. That was him getting frustrated, saying to slow the fuck down.
But okay, so here's my argument against what you're saying.
Yes,
because I get what you're saying, and I don't think you're wrong for if we keep fighting against it, they're fighting back at us. But whose fault is it that there's a fight going on? Is it the fans who just want to see what they want to see, or is it the company who's trying to force a situation? They're trying to force, a friggin' round peg into a square hole or whatever. Is that the problem, or are the fans the problem?
It's 100% their fault, and I'm not faulting the fans. All I am saying is that at this WrestleMania, the experiment's over. Don't you want the experiment to be over? Don't you want this weird, awkward fit to be?
I do, but I think it's over whether or not we succumb to their wish. Like, whether or not we suddenly all decide to cheer Roman at the end of WrestleMania doesn't affect whether or not he gets put into the main event for a 5th consecutive year.
I'm not saying to cheer. All I'm saying is let it fucking happen. Let's just go. And by the way, he wouldn't have been the main event last year if it weren't for the fact that Undertaker wanted to have this I'm gonna retire though for real thing.
Yeah, and then it's really disappointing to have him just come back and fight John Cena this year, by the way.
You're only upset because we were there. You're only upset because we were there. We got to walk by.
No, I'm not. I just don't want to watch another Undertaker match, to be fair. I don't want to see another Shawn Michaels match.
You're crazy.
I don't. I don't want to watch guys who are really old just try to do it again. I went through Ric Flair, man. We all did. It sucked. If a guy can actually still do it, I'm all in. If Kurt Angle wants to wrestle, I think he can still do it as long as he doesn't have to fall on the back of his neck. I think it's okay. If Daniel Bryan wants to come back and do some wrestling, I'm all for it. I want to see it. But we were there. I watched a match that was a little sad to watch.
But to be honest, I think that's why he wants to do another one. You
think so? He wants to just get shot up with everything he can do to make his body work one more time?
According to Michelle McCool's Instagram,
I've heard he's in great shape.
He was, yeah. The issue was last year he was just coming off a hip surgery.
Yeah. So he didn't have enough time to really get ready. Sure.
And now he's a year on from a hip surgery. He's in crazy, for his age, shape, and he doesn't want to have his last match be a shit match. Now, this is the siren song of every wrestler ever. Their last match is never good enough, and they always want to have the one more payday.
This is the siren song for every human being ever who's done something that they were really passionate about, right?
Exactly.
Like at a certain point, you can't do it the same way you used to be able to, and whether that's wrestling or whether that's, freaking being a teacher or whatever, like playing music, it sucks. Like you get old, man.
So wait, who did you see perform last night? BJ who?
BJ Thomas.
So where in WrestleManias, in Undertaker WrestleManias, was BJ Thomas?
BJ Thomas is
he like
Bray
CM
Wyatt.
Punk?
He's a Bray Wyatt right now.
Oh, all right. So
he's
already taken the L, but now he can still do it.
Yeah. He's the streak is broken, but he can he'll get a couple more victories left in him, and then he's going to be putting people over for a while.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Which I think that's the natural progression of life, right? Like at the end, you just got to put other people over, right? And then just like say, hey, I'm gonna start hanging out a lot more. I'm gonna really catch up on watching baseball every day. Which for a long time in your life, you're too busy to do things like that.
Let me just say this. I want to encourage everybody to go rewatch that WrestleMania 31 main event, because I remember watching it with you here in my apartment. And
that's right.
It was better than I think we all expected. Like it was pretty good, and then
everyone was ready to hate it, right?
Yes.
And then we couldn't.
It was pretty
good. Hate it once it started because it was actually really good.
And I think Roman's way better wrestler than he was at 31.
He is.
And I think it's going to be a good match.
The problem isn't his wrestling, though, at this point. The problem is not his wrestling. This is another thing that I want to say is that Roman isn't the problem here. The problem is that Roman feels like he's being forced down people's throats. If he hasn't been in 4 straight main events of a WrestleMania, I think people love him, right? But the problem is that people are mad that he's taking a spot from somebody that they wish would get the spot. And so they resent him because he's the one who's in the match, right? Even though you should be resenting the WWE like writing staff and whoever's deciding that this has to keep happening, they're resenting the human that's being put in front of their face, right?
Well,
and it's not his fault. And you are right. Like, he is way better than people are giving him credit for.
It's going to be a good match. I'm actually kind of pumped for it to be.
Who else at the height of their career in the history of wrestling was in 4 straight WrestleMania main events, right? Like, even Hulk Hogan didn't do 4 straight. He did a lot of them. Even John Cena didn't do 4 straight, right? Like, they did a lot of them.
I mean, again, look,
there's a lot of people that people want to see in that spot.
He would not have been the main event if it weren't for that Undertaker wanted that to be his last match last year. Mm-hmm. So
but now you're talking reason. Like that now you're talking like, okay, let's look at logic. That doesn't matter to a wrestling fan. They just want to see somebody else there for 1 year, and then we could have Roman again and people won't be as mad. Like that's why.
Oh, by the way,
people are emotional creatures, and they are watching something happen that they're just like, not again, no.
Okay,
because they want to see
this.
AJ.
What if
gay, right?
What if I were to tell you? What if I were to tell you, as was speculated today by the Lord our God Dave Meltzer, that because the rumor was that they were trying to get The Rock to come back and wrestle in this mixed tag with Ronda Rousey.
Oh, sure, yeah.
If The Rock is in that match, and this is and Kurt Angle's just a feint, right? And Kurt Angle really is going to like wrestle Seth Rollins or something. That's the main event. It's not Brock and Roman.
Well, we're at the point now where WrestleMania has 3 main events every year now, right? So.
But there's 3 main events. There's 3 main events. But
well,
Roman's
I know, but
main
too
many times.
Roman's always presented as the one that actually matters. That's the thing. And people understand that, like they say, oh, co-main events. It's not really. There's always one that people care about more. But I think the people just want to see the one that they want to see, and they're just going to be emotional about it. And it would be a lot easier. It'd be a lot easier if we just stopped, fighting back against it so much.
Just let it
happen.
Would be. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead.
But that's fine. But here's the thing: people don't take the easy route. You know, like, you could tell someone it'd be a lot easier to do it this way. People are gonna be like, yeah, I don't care. I'm doing it this way. Like, that's just how people are, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm with you, and I understand. And I think, I think you make a reasonable argument, but I think you also have to understand that reasonable doesn't always factor into this. When you're talking about fandom and things like that, like, should we just, oh, yeah, hey, NFL fans, just let the Patriots happen. Like, people are not going to be like, no. People are going to be like, no, I don't want to watch them win all the time. And that's why they're so happy when the Eagles won, right? And what's beautiful about it, though, is that WWE has this awesome little pocket tool in their arsenal that they can pull out and just be like, we're going to let you think Roman's going to win, and then boom, and you always end up getting that giant pop that, you can just on demand.
I will be furious if Brock wins. If they don't just give Roman the fucking belt so we can move.
Yeah, Roman needs to win this particular match. This isn't the time to use that tool.
I'm canceling the
Royal
WWE
Rumble
network.
Was.
If Brock wins, I'm canceling the fucking network. All right. Those dulcet tones mean it's time for Willie Dill's philosophical question. Willie, what is our philosophical question for?
So this week, not necessarily like a philosophical question, but just this is a thing that I think a lot of people deal with in day-to-day life, and that is, how do you end a situation, right?
Yeah.
And in a wrestling term, this would be called a finishing move.
Yeah.
How do I end the match, right? You end the match by hitting your finisher on the opponent.
Yeah.
And sometimes they kick out. And so sometimes in life they might kick out of your finishing move. That's fine. This is still what you do to get out of it. So I'm just curious to know, Justin, how you deal with some of these situations. And people in the chat, if you have situations like this that tend to happen, I would love to, like, or let me hear from you guys how you do it. If you have situations that we haven't covered, go ahead and hit us with it in the chat too. But a couple things. So, leaving a party.
All right.
Everyone needs the finishing move to leave a party when it's early, right? Like, you don't need a finishing move for stumbling out the door at 2 a.m. when there's like 3 people left, right?
Sure.
But you do need a finishing move if you're trying to leave at 10:30 and people are trying to hand you a shot at that very moment.
Yeah.
Or like there's still, I don't know, maybe a band is still going to play and they haven't played yet, but you're ready to go. Like, what, you got a finishing move for that scenario?
I don't know if I would have a finishing move. I do know that I would prefer to employ. Well, no. My finishing move would be Sister Abigail, just so I could then get the blackout and the dot, like, and just disappear when the lights come back on.
All right, yeah. If you could get all the lights turned off real quick.
Yeah.
I
want Bray Wyatt powers to just like that, and then
so this is smoking cigarettes is bad, you guys.
Yeah, bad.
But man, when and I recently quit again, which I'm very excited about, because I had a little stumble. I was doing real good for about 7 or 8 years there, and then I had a little stumble when I moved to Austin.
Yep.
But we've done it again. But I will say the one detrimental thing to no longer smoking cigarettes is my finishing move to leave a party was to step outside for a smoke and then just bounce.
Yeah.
I'm no
just
goodbyes
go outside
to
and smoke
anybody.
a cigarette. Yeah.
Just where'd Willie go? And eventually, here's the thing: someone will always say, like, "Hey, where did what's his name go?" And eventually, everyone won't care. Like, I've always thought it's weird when people think that everyone's going to care so much that you left. And no, people move on pretty quickly. Like they will ask the question, and someone will say, "I don't know, I haven't seen him," and then everyone will move back on to partying.
Maybe you'll get a text or two.
Maybe a text, but you could
here?
just say, I was asleep already.
Oh, sorry. My phone died. It got left at the Sister Abigail house.
Yeah, the Irish goodbye. It's sometimes known for the Seattle see ya, the Detroit ditch. Apparently, people from a lot of walks of life do this.
Yeah.
All right, I want to know what's your finishing move for the trip and catch yourself. So if you are walking along and then you trip a little bit, but you don't fall, but now you want to make it look like I didn't just trip.
Oh, I'm definitely a
Are you do you start running?
I dance. I'll do the
dance.
I'll do the the stanky leg kind of like whoa, like now I'm just gonna take that instability and just make it my whole body. Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm a jogger. I go into a light jog for a second, and then maybe like look at my phone and be like, actually I have plenty of time to get there.
Yeah, I know. Do you do the like check your pulse?
Sure. That's actually a good one. Stop for a second. Yeah. Like act like you have an Apple Watch, right? You can act like that's a Fitbit or something.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, yeah.
That's not bad. All right. Okay, getting off the phone. If you need to get off the phone with somebody, this is usually done with a family member.
Oh, this is
sometimes like if you're in a work environment where you must make phone calls to people. There's some people who they just want to linger. They linger on the phone. You got to end it.
And look, I have a complicated relationship with the phone. As anybody who has listened to my podcast knows, I have no problem talking. I like to talk, and many times to my
are you
friends.
the lingerer? Are you the person
I
in the
think
situation?
I oftentimes could be the lingerer. However, that being said, I'm friends with a lot of lingerers.
Okay.
And I will say, I mean, we don't talk on the phone a lot, me and you, but I would say almost anybody that I have a phone relationship with, I have given them the I don't get cell service in my building. Like,
that's actually a true statement for me for some reason. Like, there's certain rooms in my apartment that the phone just doesn't work. So
no, I'll say, I'm about to go to the elevator. I'm going to lose you. I'll see you later.
Do you ever do the...
No. I never...
No, you never faked the...
No, you want to know who Brett, the Amtrekker Roundsville, once told me that his move was always just... He wouldn't do the... but he would do the... Hello?
The hello is a good one.
And then... click and then just not pick up again.
So I have very few phone conversations anymore, but I have lots of Skype convos, and it's really easy because at this point it's another true statement. It's like when you have a baby and you're just like, baby, I can't come out.
Yeah.
I gotta go. I gotta walk Iggy. I gotta walk Iggy now.
That's it.
Here's the thing: it's always the friggin' truth because that motherfucker just wants to go outside all the goddamn time.
He's a puppy. Yeah.
But it makes it real easy to just get off the phone call. Now I want to say a legendary finisher. No one's ever kicked out of before is the Scott Johnson. Just hang up.
Oh, God.
Immediately after you're done.
Scott Johnson, the fucking Randy Orton, Randy Orton of Skype, from out of nowhere. This motherfucker
Skype
hangs up on you. And it'll be like in the middle of like, because he's also a very warm person, so there'll be a very like warm goodbye of like, hey man, great times, great talking, private or public, by the way. Doesn't matter if you're on a show, if you are on a personal call. I'll be like, hey man, awesome, great talk, and then like literally like at the K of talk when you know there's an ing behind it, from out of nowhere, undefeated.
You hear the very familiar sound of Skype ending. Bloop.
I am horses. That's what should happen right after Scott Johnson fucking hangs up with you on Skype.
You think he just gets up at his desk and just does the Randy?
They talk to me.
All right, I got like two more for you here.
Yeah.
All right, this one is a tricky one, and this happens to people all the time. And I also want to talk about this one situation where it's very strange. But okay, when you're staring at somebody in public, and then they suddenly lock eyes with you, and notice that you are looking at them. Now, a common finishing move here is the quick look away, right? Trying to act like that didn't just happen.
Yeah.
This does not work. This is like the spear of finishing moves in this situation, but it's like Edge's spear, which looks terrible and doesn't actually get the job done. This is not Goldberg's spear or Roman's spear, right? So there's also the people who just keep the eyes locked and then smile, and that's just creepy and also doesn't seem to work. So I don't know if you got. I'm trying to figure out if there's like a better way to
figure this one out. All right, so here's my move on that. I keep eye contact.
Okay, so
and
you
then
lock in.
I'll do the half acknowledgement. The like.
Okay, so wait, are you do like this one? Yeah. Just the chin up real quick.
Just the chin, just the quick chin.
All right, quick chin. I like that.
That's what I'll do. Now, this is another one, man. I might be one of these guys because I think the problem is that I have the kind of face that kind of, I think, reads intense to people that don't know me. I think people that are aware of who I am think I'm a very jocular, fun kind of guy.
Sure.
But if I think I just might have like resting intense face. So if I'm looking at somebody, I find something interesting about like their hat or hair or something like that, I oftentimes find myself looking at people's heads or faces, and then they make eye contact with me, and now I'm the dude staring at them, and I look like I'm kind of intense. So I feel like I have seen people give me the like, what's up?
Sure, yeah. You know, it's funny. You can kind of tell if you don't do the immediate look away, you end up having a moment with a stranger. And I'll say this, it's funny because the way that moment has been interpreted by the other person has changed throughout my life, right?
Oh, wow.
So when I was like a teenager, fresh-faced and young-looking Willie Dills,
Yeah.
no one ever seemed to think it was at all strange. The moment you got a little facial hair,
Yeah.
and you look a little older, I've had people kind of like do the, like, you could physically see them like, who is this person staring at me right now? Yeah. And you always want to be like, no, I'm in a public place and I'm just looking around. Like, I swear a second ago it was this guy. Like, there's nothing about you that is drawing me in.
If my phone weren't dead, I'd be looking at that.
I'd be looking at that
I'm
motherfucker.
looking at you.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Well,
I got one more, and then I have one where I just want to make a suggestion that everybody alter their finishing move on another one. All right. So when someone keeps saying something to you, and you say what, and then they say it again, and you still don't understand what they said.
Oh my God!
This is one of the worst situations you could find yourself in, especially when it's a loud situation, and you know that even if you say what again, it's not going to help. So you basically have to just get out of this.
Here's my move, and this was
somehow.
This was something that I had to deal with when I was a reporter, because like you have to get this shit right, like otherwise it's libel if you're like putting words in their mouth.
Somebody. Yeah.
Right. So it's what I might even go a third. I'm sorry, there's a problem here. It's loud. Can you move somewhere else? I need you to repeat that for me. Or here's the other secret trick. Just start saying literally whatever you thought they said. Like just. So that was monkey baboons in Miami, and they're like, no, I went to visit my aunt and ate salami, right? Like,
okay, that might get them to actually enunciate a little bit more, because people do have a tendency to mumble things, even in loud situations. People don't finish off the words. I have this issue all the time, and I feel bad about this, and I want to. This is something I want to change about myself. If I were to have a New Year's resolution, it wouldn't be eat less Oreos or something like that. It would be stop just saying when I have this situation happen.
Oh, go back and get it. Go back and get it.
You do the thing where you say what, and then you just or a fake laugh, like anything of the, they're all the same move, basically.
The move it along move.
Yeah, they're at their base form. These are all the same move. It's the laugh. It's the it's the nod. It's the okay.
Yeah.
You literally just you're whatever they said is now never going to get through to you, and the communication has ended. So what I want to do is get better at this. I like your move, which is repeat back. I think
just
that's pretty
repeat
strong.
back. Right? Yeah, just do whatever, and know it's wrong, but say it confidently, because then the urgency is on them to be like, no, I didn't say that. I said this.
I just want to stop being the person who lets information fall on the floor. I do this all the time with people's names too. Someone will introduce themselves to me, and the split second after they say their name, I've completely forgotten it.
Oh, get the fuck out of there. Get the fuck out. I'm never, ever. I'm sorry. I'm never going to remember your name. I'm sorry. That's not happening.
Like, you have to repeat it to me like minimum of like 4 or 5 times. And then you have to become somewhat significant in my life for me to be curious. But the problem is that sometimes someone becomes significant in your life without you realizing that they're going to be. And then you get to that awkward stage where you have to do the thing of, I'm sorry, man, but what is your name?
Nicknames.
And then it's like insulting.
Nicknames. Right? That's what you want to do. Give me a nickname. if you meet me in person, I'm sure I've heard a million different Daves. I've heard a million different Dennises, but I don't know if I've ever heard of Megatron. Like, so just come up to me and give me a nickname. I don't give a fuck if it's a real
you want me
nickname.
to remember you? Yeah.
I'll be like, oh shit, that's Megatron. I know that motherfucker. He lives in Detroit.
All right, now I want to just give everyone a suggestion on how to finish off a situation that I run into far too often, and it is the two people reach a four-way stop at the same time, and then sit there for about a minute, waving the other person through. I need this to become a more common situation that is resolved in this fashion than the wave through, right? Because the wave through is the worst. Both people end up doing it for far longer than they need to. So my suggestion to everybody out there, and it doesn't matter if the other guy ever starts to do this, I'm encouraging everybody to become a member of the Just Go party. So what happens is you get to a four-way stop. As soon as the other person waves, you go. You take the wave out of your moveset. The wave is no longer part of your moveset.
Like we have
again.
enough waivers.
Yes, there are
as
enough
a
waivers.
society,
In fact,
we have enough
a higher
waivers.
percentage. I would say we're at like a 95% waiver population right now.
Yeah,
and we got to put up a wall, dude. We got to stop letting these waivers into this damn country.
I mean, God damn it.
We got to start going.
Make
so
America go again.
Go. Don't wave. Don't fall into the trap. This is like when you say goodbye and then the other person says goodbye and then you say goodbye again. No.
You already said goodbye.
Stop it. Just go. Everything will move a lot smoother. We won't have these situations anymore.
Well, because the worst,
there's many situations like this.
The worst is when you go wave, go. Wave,
and then both people go.
Wave, go.
Yeah.
Wave. And then you've gotten to the slowest car crash in history.
Yeah, because here's the thing. If somebody waves and then they also go, well, then that person's just a fucking asshole. So you go, and you are now clearly in the right. And the other thing about this situation, a lot of people seem to think that there's all kinds of accidents happening at four-way intersections where people are just running into each other at 2 miles an hour. No, if you start going and they start going, you can both hit the brakes in plenty of time. So just be the person who goes. I'm telling you, life will be a lot smoother for you. Luckily, here in Austin, you don't run into a lot of four-way stops, so I haven't seen the situation nearly as much as I used to in the Bay Area. But my God,
in suburban southeast Florida, a lot of
all
four-way
the time,
stops,
huh? Yeah,
a lot of waving. Well, I'll tell you what, Willie, that was a tremendous philosophical corner.
I think we've helped a lot of people. These are situations that a lot of people don't have that finishing move for. So start working on your finishers, guys.
Work on your finishers. I mean,
they got to look good. They got to look smooth.
All right, Willie, let's go ahead and get into.
Don't be a Brian Saxton of getting out of an awkward situation. Is what I'm saying. All right.
This was last week's Melodica Challenge. What do you got
it's
for me?
It's so crazy because it seems like one that should be so obvious to me, and yet I can't put my finger on it at all.
All right, one more time.
Like there's this big intro, and then some very staccato-y rhythmic things. And then it just kind of peters out at the end there. So I see something in the chat that I think actually does make sense to me now. But didn't they have multiple intro songs? So I'm seeing LOD.
They might have, but this is indeed theirs. Oh,
is that what's going on at the beginning?
What a rush.
Is that supposed to be the What a Rush? Okay.
I believe so. And then I'll tell you what. Let's actually see.
I love the What a Rush part. It was really good.
We might actually have to delay this week's to next week's because I did forget Ah, crap. Yeah, we are going to have to delay this week's for next week's. Don't worry. They are all very, very good, and we will lead them on the road to WrestleMania. By the way, I had stopped uploading the Melodica themes because nobody was seemed to be really downloading them. But we got a few complaints about it, so I'll put them all in a big old Dropbox folder that I'll make available to patrons, and everybody can enjoy them to their heart's content. Again, a big shout out to the Melodica man himself, Trey Warren, for putting.
By the way, this is why. Okay, now I'm understanding why some of these are so difficult, because when you hear it in a single note of a melodica, as compared to the thrash metal style guitar, distorted guitar, oftentimes like the notes of the guitar don't matter when you're listening to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it makes it difficult. This is why it's very effective. You know, to put these in melodica form. Because if you just played me the intro, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's that.
Because you would know, oh, what.
Well, or if you just or if you played it like on acoustic guitar or something like that, you'd still have like that kind of tonal, like all of it. But the melodica,
you think that you would have gotten Legion of Doom on an acoustic guitar?
I think so. Because if you hear it's like that. Well, maybe not. It's been a long time since I've listened to their intro.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. You've given me enough cover. Willie, you've given me enough cover that I loaded this week's Melodica Challenge, so here it is.
That's great.
And just because you smarks will never stop hearing it.
Oh, perfect episode to be playing this one, by the way.
I need the greatest hits of his career to just have that theme song in it.
Can somebody just make a Titantron using that? Like just replay, keep the actual intro, keep the actual wrestler walking in to that.
Exactly. And then you just hear. Oh, it's so fucking good.
It's so good.
Holy shit. All right, everybody. Willie, what are you up to?
Just check out my stream, twitch.tv/WillieDills. We're finishing off the month of February by basically just playing Wild Arena in Hearthstone. There's only a few days left, but then when March comes around, we're only D-ranking a few ranks. So it is we're going to be on the grind to hit Legend on Wild and Standard in a single month. So look forward to that.
Have you ever done two-time Legend player?
No. In fact, I've never hit Legend in Wild, period. But you always start at like rank 18 or whatever, and then it's 2 ladders. You got to go that far. I will be at rank 9 in both. I think rank 8 in Standard, because you only go back 4 ranks now. So yeah, come along with me on that journey of trying to grind 2 different ladders and then see if I can finish the month playing a lot of fun decks in the Legend ladder, which would be quite fun.
So they already did the pay to play Wild Arena thing, or Wild?
That's happening now. No, not the arena thing of Wild. That actually starts, I think, tomorrow.
Gotcha.
But right now you can play Wild Arena where you draft wild cards,
gotcha.
Like all the cards, because normally it's Standard. But I think tomorrow is when you build the deck and then play it for arena style rewards, but you build your own deck and then you play it in Wild format. That I think starts tomorrow. That's going to be a lot of fun. Also, if you don't know, I have a YouTube channel that I don't use very often because it's just not as rewarding for most of the things I do, and it's a little time consuming. But I've recently been talking to people about doing something different. If you want to watch me play Hearthstone, you do that on Twitch. You don't really go to my YouTube channel for that, right? So I decided to do a couple of different things. So there's a video I'm actually working on getting out now. It's me and my buddy Ty here doing the Power Hour, which is something I've never done before, but 60 shots of beer in 60 minutes, taking one shot of beer, one ounce shot of beer every minute for 60 minutes. Essentially, it's 5 beers in 1 hour.
How'd that go?
5 beers sounds easy to drink. I found this incredibly difficult, actually, and you'll get to watch it all kind of unfold. So it's youtube.com/WillieDills is my YouTube channel. So check it out if you haven't before.
Imagine every sip of beer came with an equal amount of foam.
Sure, that's another problem with it.
Basically, you're drinking like shaken up. Like imagine you like were to do the Stone Cold, like catching the beer and drinking
just
it,
keep doing
but
that.
you never spilled a drop. You got literally every bit into your
the hardest thing about it wasn't getting drunk. It was the physicality of having that much beer in your stomach.
Oh,
yeah,
brother. Have I got a tale or two of giving a big old pukeroo during a power hour?
This would be fun stuff to actually shoot whenever you're find yourself in Austin or I find myself in Oakland. Is things like this, little mini drinking style challenges or eating challenges or doing something challenge. Like this is the kind of stuff I want to do more on the YouTube channel. It's just take an idea, a thing I've never done,
fun lifestyle-y kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because like I said, if you want to watch me play Hearthstone, you go to Twitch for that. You don't go to my YouTube for it.
No, it's fine.
So they need to be different things, and then maybe they feed each other at some point.
All right. I actually have a new project coming up. It's something that I've been really, really excited about, and I wanted to preview it a little bit right here. A lot of you guys might have listened to more long-form kind of podcasts that take a little bit more editing and researching. I know this is a bit of an odd place to preview it, but here we go. Here is a clip.
Wow, I'm really excited for this.
I think it's going to turn out
you know, you're breaking ground right now.
I call it the big dog. All right, everybody, go ahead and check out my my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Justin R. Young. Again, twitch.tv/Justin R. Young. Look, what can I say about the Patreon, man? Get on the Patreon, patreon.com/1900wrestling. It is awesome that we get to have a little wrestle fun where Willie and I can peel off a little bit of cash and go see some wrestling events. And to be honest, man, guys, you should have been there. If you're not on our Discord, then you are missing the best way to experience live wrestling events. Because, look, I had nothing but a blast watching that, or just being in that Discord all night. And then I went to Reddit, and it was just like that community gif of, like, you know, Donald Glover walking in with the pizza and everything being on fire. Like, it was the word. It was everything I needed to know about why I love our community. So thank you guys so much. But until next time.
I was sad that I couldn't watch the event live. That's my favorite thing is when I watch it live. I'm like, oh, I could be in the Discord for this, and I had to watch it after the fact, and I didn't get any of that. And it changes the whole experience, man.
It does. It does. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
I want you to call me for all of wrestling's latest news and
For Willie Dills, I'm Justin Robert Young. This has been 1-900 Wrestling. Be
number 1-900 Wrestling.
Stupid idiots.
They call me Hara. Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.